This lecture topic is neo-noir, and I talked about neo-noir a little bit and introduced it when we were talking about regular film noir. Neo-noir is, as you probably would expect, a newer version of noir. So any of the darker toned, very dark-looking films with kind of dark subject matter, dimly illuminated films from the mid-1960s until now gets put in the neo-noir category. So as I said before, the actual film noir era lasted roughly from the 1940s until 1959. So that's 59 is the cutoff point. When you get into the 1960s, you start getting into neo-noir. And it's a pretty diverse set of films. So everything from Point Blank from '67 to Taxi Driver, the Scorsese film from the '70s, to Body Heat from the early '80s. Those are all neo-noir films, as well as even newer ones. Um, so in order to make a neo-noir film, you need to attempt to kind of recreate the original noir look, and it's very stylized. The photography has a very specific look. So if you're going to make a neo-noir film, you need to actually be very, very conscious about what you're going to be doing. And in some cases, it pays homage to the earlier noir films, and the film for this section actually is a very good example of that. Devil in a Blue Dress. It also makes use of technological advances. So if you go back to the 1940s, technology isn't what it was today. So obviously the original noir films were almost always going to be in black and white. The newer films are going to be in color. And also when you get to films like Seven from 1995, that is a film that definitely uses the technology of the day in order to actually be very, very dimly illuminated. You have scenes that are lit entirely with a flashlight. You still get a noir look because everything is very dark, but at the same time you use technology in order to do it. So it's both a modern film and it looks back at the same time. Um, so some of them are going to take noir, use it in a modern context, like Seven, as I said before. Others are going to revisit the original noir period of time, that 40s and 50s, and it's going to create some kind of new social commentary. So the films of that day, which even though they weren't necessarily under the complete purview of the Hollywood Production Code, couldn't necessarily deal with a lot of topics with the same amount of bite that we could today. So you have films like L.A. Confidential, which deals with prostitution and race issues and a lot of darker things you really couldn't talk about. But it's set in that noir era, and it's a period piece, and it's able to actually take a fresh look at it. And the same thing with Devil in a Blue Dress, which takes a look at race in a way that we definitely couldn't have done before. Now, Devil in a Blue Dress is from 1995, based on a modern pulp novel by Walter Mosley, an African American writer, and it creates a detective who's very much in the same vein as earlier detectives from the original noir pulps, the origins of the original noir films, except, there's one crucial difference in the fact that he's an African American, which isn't something that you would have been able to see in those earlier noir films. It was just a line that couldn't be crossed. So now we're seeing a totally different version of this particular this particular area of time, 1940s Hollywood, that just couldn't be seen before. So we get to see different parts of town, different types of characters, and a lot of different issues that just would not have been allowed there. So kind of a fresh look at this sort of thing, and definitely a good example of neo-noir.